Oh, it's Max. Yeah, let's maybe not go there back. Yeah, let's leave F1 controversy to seeing what the end result ends up being once they've been to court, etc. By the way, for pure reference, I don't think anything should change, regardless of what happens. But I do agree with what Mercedes are doing. I don't want it to change as much as I would prefer a British driver to win. I'm British, shoot me. I don't want it to change. However, once again, don't get him in here. As much as, I don't want it to change because I think it to be won in the courts is horrendous. But I also don't want Massey to be sacked or leave or anything like that. He needs more help. Oh my God, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. This is the one comment I'm going to say, and I'm never going to talk about this again on stream. Massey needs help, 100%. He needs more support. Charlie Whiting had more support. He had a right-hand man. He had more people around him. Massey's new to this job. He does not deserve to be fired. He does not need to leave. He needs a better support network, and the FIA need to clear up the rules. Charlie Whiting wrote most of the rules for Formula One, hence why he knew them inside out. Massey is new to Michael Massey is new to this. He probably doesn't know them quite as in depth. Yes, he's made some terrible calls this year, but if he can influence what some of the rules say and the wording, good, because that is what we need more of. We need, Charlie Whiting was a hard-nosed guy. He was tough to get past, etc. You wouldn't mess with him. Michael Massey is a little bit of a softer character. Therefore, he needs more support, and also, this is a big lesson, a big lesson for the FIA in general, which is when a scenario, because you can't write a rule for every scenario. You can't. So you have to make a judgment call on the spot. However, he did say you need a bully and a dictator, and I agree to a degree with that. I can see what the approach Michael Massey's taking, but anyway, when a scenario happens, write the rule for it. There and then, roll it out, make sure everyone understands, and there is no, there's no miscommunication or anything like that. There was an article written, I know, Maurice, I know. There was an article written that said that Massey made the exact opposite decision in a previous race last year. And yes, I totally agree with the fact that he has messed up. But, two wrongs don't make a right. And I think it'd be wrong to fire him. And it'd be wrong for him to leave. Get him more support, get more people around him, get a hard line approach to teams being able to try and dictate and influence the way things work, etc. And FIA in general, when something happens, a scenario happens, write the damn rule and make sure everyone understands, move on to the next. Right, that's it. Conversation over. Okay, we got you got the rant that you're after. So, racing incident. Frosty. Can we should play Forza Horizon 4? I hate all the arguments. There's no argument here, Frosty, because like Ted said, this is a dictatorship. No, I'm joking. There's no controversy. I'm not here saying I think Lewis was robbed. I'm not here saying that I think Max does or doesn't deserve it. I think both teams, both drivers, put a very complete campaign together, and both arguably deserve the title. Lewis has made mistakes, more mistakes than Max has. Max has been more dirty than Lewis has. I don't think Lewis was dirty at all, but between them, they've had their faults. The teams, Red Bull have been the better team for sure, been more aggressive team for sure. They both deserve it. It's unfortunate the way it's panned out. I think the best result we can end up with is annul the final race, which I think is possible. Annul the final race, and it means Max still gets the title. It means they're tying on points, but Max still gets the title because of the count back on race wins. And what you want from a Mercedes perspective is, or actually what we all want is a admission of guilt and fault from the FIA and a active proposal to ensure that they will do better moving forwards. And I think that gives us pretty much everything that we can ask for, because nobody wants it run in the courtroom. Anyway, that is now genuinely it. I promise. So, I agree, Kanik. I agree. Totally agree. Okay. Here's one more thing. What? I'm going down a rabbit hole. No. So, what they could consider doing, what they could consider doing, but you would need to build a buffer in terms of the amount of fuel they have on board, is do what BTCC do and add laps on. If it's a safety car, they add laps on up to a certain amount. I think it's either 3 or 5 laps they'll add on. You could say instead of 100 kilos of fuel, take 120 kilos of fuel, because that buys you enough. It's still the same fuel flow limit and things like that, but that buys you enough in case we have to add 5 laps on. Done. Anyway, he won't quit now. Hamilton won't quit. He'll want to come back and take next year, get 8. He'll want to win next year. Or do you know what, Maurice? That's not a bad shout as well. Guaranteed red flag if it's at a certain point into the race. Also a good shout. And also them saying that Mercedes were too passive and didn't go aggressive enough. I can see why they wanted to keep track position. I personally, but then again, I don't run the team. I personally would have gone a little bit more aggressive because Lewis had so much more speed. If you got 2, 3, 4 laps left. But what they didn't want to do was lose track position and then it doesn't fit, and then it finishes under the safety car and then you've screwed yourself. So saying Mercedes are too passive is kind of nonsense, really. Be like NASCAR, get overtime. Yeah, that's another option, maybe. Overtime, then shootout. I guess you want to try and avoid making it too complicated, but I can see, there's a lot of options to consider, I think, which is the main thing. And that's what we want, right? We want a resolution that gives us options. But yeah. Decided next year as we go to Latifi has. Do you know what? I'm slightly not concerned, but teams like Haas have been working on the car all year. Mercedes, if they are to be believed, and certain parts of the media, and I mean certain parts, not the general dross and trivia over the stuff that you read, but Mercedes might have been working on a car for a long time. And that's pretty ominous. And if they do, which is what they did in 2014, they were working on that engine and that chassis for absolutely ages, and look at what happened. So if they've been doing that and Red Bull have been putting resources into this year, which they have, it could be unless someone finds a loophole like 2009, then, I don't know. We should see. But Haas could possibly go back. Haas, when they joined the grid, were a good team. It's just the past couple of years they've got it. Their concept hasn't worked for whatever reason. Same with Aston Martin as well. So I said that. So for anyone who watched my early stuff on YouTube, and no, it's not still on the channel anymore, in case anyone was trying to go and hunt it out. But I used to do F1 reviews. That's how, before I started doing gaming stuff. That's what I used to do, and I'd love to go back to doing something like it in some way, because as you can tell, I love talking about Formula One and in motorsport in general. I love BTC, love DTM, etc., etc. And actually, I said in the year that Racing Point, as they were, copied Mercedes' concept, I said in one of my predictions at the start of the year, I said they won't do that well because they won't understand the concept of the car, because it's not the direction they've gone in for so many years previously. Now, it didn't hurt them that year because they still had the similar sort of floor setup and things like that. It's hurt them this year, I think, because they don't understand the concept, because it wasn't their original thought process. Maybe next year will be a little bit different, but because they're all going to be theoretically a low rake design, because it maximizes the Venturi tunnels underneath the car. So it'll be interesting to see if they can recover some of that back. But they've done trash this year, I think, because they don't understand the car concept, which was my prediction was just a year too early. But I'd love to go back to doing Formula One stuff. In fact, I've actually got some ideas for next year to do Formula One stuff and whatever again on the Formula One game, and also we can have a chin wag about it at the same time, which would be good. Chris, what are we saying? Aston, a new wind tunnel being built. Yep, same. Yep, absolutely. Once they've got some of more of their own facilities, similar with McLaren. Oh my God, McLaren this year. And now McLaren fanboy, 100%. McLaren are having new equipment, new facilities built and stuff like that. They had to use their tokens, both of their tokens, for the engine implementation for the Mercedes engine, which means they couldn't use them for aerodynamic purposes and other chassis purposes and stuff like that, which other teams could. Now, the fact that they slipped from 4th to 5th, well, sorry, the fact that they slipped from 3rd to 4th, should I say, in the Constructors' Championship, I think is actually a fantastic result for them, because while everybody else could sit there and improve, based, using the token stuff to improve, they had to use both of them to implement the Mercedes engine into fundamentally the same car at the start of the year. Obviously, they made improvements over the course of the year, but I'm going to take my hat off to what they did. The dangerous team, and you can quote me on this, the dangerous team for next year is Ferrari. Sat there quietly, not made much noise, not said all will be good, not said all will be bad, or anything in between. Got their act sorted out compared to last year. Carlos Sainz, what a blinder he's played. Leclerc, not the best season for him. I'm sure he'll be a little bit stronger next season. But between them, Sainz champion next year. Why not? Why not? Like I said, Ferrari sat there quietly going about their business, which is exactly what you need to do. And I don't think they bought too many updates to their car. Not crazy amounts anyway. So if they're McLaren, Mercedes, I don't worry for Red Bull. They're a talented bunch of people, but if they've been putting a lot of effort into this year, which I guess we'll just find out and we'll see, then maybe they might slip a little bit away from Mercedes. But I think there's a few teams on the grid this year that really, really could do a job next year. But we'll see. Anyway, we'll call it there. Thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to drop a like if you haven't done so far.